UFC Fight Night Baku takes place Saturday. I have absolutely no time when because I'm on the East Coast, so God knows when they've tailored it to start, but it does take place this Saturday. We've got a lot of good fights to get to. This is a Money Manziel MMA production, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have a full card breakdown today, as promised in yesterday's video. Go check it out if you haven't. It's a most watched UFC fighters tier list. I think it's a pretty good one, but go check it out if you want to. If you don't want to, then fucking, you do you. Either way, let's get started. Muhammad Usman and Hamdi Abdelwahab open up the card. I'm gonna go Muhammad Usman here. Um, I don't rate barely beating Dontel Mays. I don't rate barely beating Jamal Pogues. It's one of those situations where, uh, for me, like, you can have the 5 KOs outside of the UFC, but you got 2 cans in the UFC and you barely beat them and arguably lost to Jamal Pogues. Most people thought he did lose. Muhammad Usman has losses to Mick Parkin and Thomas Peterson in the UFC. I rate that quite a bit more than, and by the way, this is wrong. I don't know why it says loss win-win for Muhammad Usman because that's not true. But I rate his losses more than I do Hamdi Abdelwahab's wins. He's been inactive his entire career, regardless of steroid tests. He's older than you'd really want someone who's 6-0 to be. Even if Usman's 36, I think he's faced higher level competition for longer. I'm going Muhammad Usman at plus money here. Next up, Azat Maksum versus Tagir Ulanbekov. Take one solitary look at Tagir Ulanbekov and you tell me they're not all cousins in Russia. How does a human being look like Tagir Ulanbekov? There is no way that in God's green earth, this beautiful creation that is our world, that these people are all not related in that certain mountain region that we all know and love. There's just no chance. However, I'm going to take him versus Maxim. He kind of looked like dog shit against Charles Johnson. I know it's not a bad loss, but he gassed so fast in that fight. He won the first round. I feel like he knocked Charles Johnson down or at least hurt him badly in that fight. If I remember correctly, it was like a spinning elbow type of situation. But then Charles Johnson poured it on him after that, and he didn't hold up well to the pressure. I don't know if he's getting finished, but I could see a Tagir Ulanbekov pretty easy 30-27, dance on the outside, avoid kind of the first round chaos, and then, kind of dominate the fight, kind of in a point fight style. So we'll go Tagir Ulanbekov here. Next up, Claudia Segula versus Irina Alexeva. I'll be honest with you, I was looking at Google. Claudia Segula is kind of bad. Like, I'm not, you know me, but she's kind of bad. I will say that I don't like picking girls who are bad to win fights. Like I feel like it's not a good base in women's MMA to be hot. You know, like Valentina Shevchenko's only hot in like a really scary kind of she's gonna kill me kind of way. Nunes was not hot. Pena, regardless of what hipsters on the internet think, Juliana Pena's ugly. Strawweight Zhang Wei Li. We would all crack Zhang Wei Li. It's not a good base. Same with, of course, Cyborg. Good lord. So I'm gonna take Irina Alexeva here. I like that she went to a decision with Melissa Mullins and she didn't get finished. She's incredibly inactive. We don't know how she's gonna look. I'd have to watch a little bit more tape on this one. I'm not fully confident in this at minus 290. I wouldn't play that. I could see this going the distance though. I know a lot of people are on the under here. Um, but you could see a sneaky decision here, I think. It's tricky with the inactivity of Arena to be sure, but I would favor her over a girl that got KO'd in her last fight. Next up, Melissa Dixon versus Daria Zelezniakova. Also a sneaky baddie, by the way. Zelezniakova, blonde, tall, from Russia. I'm down with the cause. Clearly not from the same region that Tagir Ulanbekov and Habib are from. And Saeed Nurmagomedov, that guy's fucking ugly. I'm going. Oh, here's the issue. If I had no context around this fight, I would probably pick Zelezniakova because I do think she's a pretty talented striker on the outside with her kicks and her boxing. The issue is they have fought before, and you look at the 1 KO loss on Zelezniakova's resume. It's from their first fight in Aries FC. Um, So solely based off of that, that's why Melissa Mullins, now Melissa Dixon, is such a big favorite here. I think if that fight never happened, it would be pick 'em odds. It's very competitive. I would have to watch that fight and see what the circumstances were. I mean, it ended with 1 second left in the round. But I'll take Melissa Mullins just based on the fact that she does have a finish win over Zeleznyakova. But this could be an interesting dog play here. Next up, Ismail Nurdiev versus Junyun Park, the Iron Turtle. I'm going Junyun Park for the same reason that I think a lot of people are here. Nardiev couldn't finish Bruno Silva, and I don't even really think he hurt him that bad. I don't believe he ever dropped Bruno Silva, and Silva looked like he could not have given less of a shit about being in there. Like, it looked like Bruno Silva really did not want to fight. He was just not throwing any punches. He just kind of stood against the cage and got teed off on. Nardiev can't hurt Junyun Park, and he's a guy that gets hurt a lot, in my opinion. 4 KO losses and 6 losses is tough. I think Junyun Park's going to wear on him against the cage. I think you're going to get a greasy kind of 29-28, maybe even a split decision from him, where Nardiev takes a round off him. But I do think that Junyun Park is better than his loss to Andre Muniz. And to beat Brad Tavares, a guy that doesn't get taken down as a guy who primarily wrestles, I really like Junyun Park here to be able to kind of grease his way to a decision win. So we'll take him. Oban Elliott versus Seokhyun Ko. I know it's like, it's not popular to say this. Oban Elliott sucks, dude. Come on, man. Like, are we going to be serious about Oban Elliott? Let's everyone put the name aside, put the Twitter aside. Do you actually think that Oban Elliott is a legitimate prospect at welterweight? He KO'd Basil Hafez in the third round in a fight that was decently competitive. This isn't on the steroids Basil Hafez. It was Basil Hafez off cycle. Kid was kind of cooked and old. You know, Preston Parsons, I don't see it with him. He is a 50% finish rate, which is worse than a lot of guys at welterweight. 3 KOs, 3 subs, and 12 wins. I mean, Seokhyun Ko has a better finish rate than him. I'm going to take Elliott to win a decision. I think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be like, oh, this was just an off night for Oban or something. He's going to be like, sorry, guys, I wish I could have gotten the finish, but such and such, and then he's going to make shit up. I don't think Oban Elliott's that good. I think he loses to Jake Matthews if they ever fought. But I do think he wins a decision here. I would not play him at minus 550, though. I'd take this over in this fight. Kicking off the main card, Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. I said this in my Money Manziel prediction video where we were looking at people who are willing to bend the rules as a measure of winning fights. I'm taking Muhammad Naimov still. Listen, he likes to cheat in fights. I think that's great. If you want to win matchups at the highest level in the sport, you need to be willing to cheat. They're going to let him get away with it in Azerbaijan because he's from around there. I think he's from Tajikistan, which is close enough. So, it's one of those things where, he could probably miss weight if he wanted to. It would help him also. I just think Bogdan Grad is not that good. I think it's kind of hardcore to pick him. But I think Naimov wins a close decision here, would be my guess. It's tricky, but, it's one of those things where I don't really care that much about this fight, but going off pure vibes and just, straight, nothing else, literally just vibes, I'm taking Muhammad Naimov. Nazim Siddiqov versus Nicholas Mata. This is a fun fight, man. Because this is like technique versus just short, fat skill. Short, fat marauding, if you will. Nicholas Mata, KO, he's basically a kill or be killed. I mean, he's finished 10 of 15 wins, and all 5 of his losses are by finish. Siddiqov is a finisher, a 90% finish rate in his wins. He also had that war versus Slava clause, which proved that he can hang in there with guys that can punch, man, and guys that can kick. I think Siddiqov finishes Nicholas Mata. I think it's technical. I think it's on like a little setup head kick, or like hits him to the body, hurts him, then 1, 2, 3. Oh, he throws the uppercut. Oh, he hurt him against the cage. Like one of those situations. I think this is going to be one of the best fights in the night. So I got Nazim Siddiqov by second round TKO here. Tofik Musayev versus Miktabek Orobai. I'm taking Miktabek Orobai. Guys, you're not hardcore for picking fucking Azerbaijani 35-year-old prospect Tofik Musayev. You know, finished 20 of 22 fights. Cool. He's been finished in 4 or 5 losses. Miktabek Orba is literally unfinishable. If you saw the Mateusz Raumbetsky fight, he was genuinely a dead man on the canvas, and aging and evolution has not figured out what to do against this guy. Miktabek Orba genuinely looks like the one remaining member of a Neanderthal tribe that just somehow found his way into the 21st century. He genuinely looks like he's not human. Miktabek Orobai looks like a guy you would find in a cave, and he's like, and he's like saying some like autistic shit, like you don't even understand what he's saying, like some caveman type of shit. But you kind of fuck with him because he's got like a nice physique. He's got, the hairline's trying. Then he tells you he's 27, and you fucking die laughing for 5 minutes. That's what Miktabek Orobai looks like. Either way, I think Orobai finishes this guy. I bet he subs him. I bet Orobai gets a rear naked choke on Musayev in the first round. How about that? First round sub for Miktabek Orobai. We get this 35-year-old prospect out of here. Go back to Ryzen, buddy. Enjoy being a champ over there. Curtis Blades and Rizvan Kuniev. I think Curtis Blades should be a minus 800 favorite. It's not like Kuniev is a crazy KO artist where he's so powerful like Sergey Pavlovich, where Curtis Blades can like kind of fluke his way into being KO'd because he does that. Kuniev's just a fat guy who takes steroids, and now that he's off cycle, he just kind of looks obese. I think Blades should be minus 500. I think he's incredibly playable at minus 275. I think it's so disrespectful that this is the matchup they're giving him, but it kind of is what it is. I've got Curtis Blades. I'll go second round TKO. I bet the first round Kuniev tries to run at him, and then Blades kind of takes him down, ground and pound, easy win for him. It's one of those situations. Maybe Kuniev catches him, but I'd be shocked if that happened. Co-main event: Ignacio Bahamondes versus Rafael Fiziev. I'm going Rafael Fiziev here. I think that Nacho's being overrated a little. He's incredibly technical on the feet, but no one has really tested his grappling or his defensive grappling. Turner got on the ground with him. Bahamondes was on bottom, and Turner put himself in a triangle. It's one of those things. And I know he's not 0-0 by sub. It's messed up. I'm not really sure what happened. I think I accidentally took this from the Curtis Blade slide and put it over. But either way, I think Rafael Fiziev is going to be able to hang with him in the striking and probably outpoint him. And I think he does have the grappling if he wants to mix it up. He doesn't have to, but it could be a nice little element for him in his game. I think Fiziev can beat this guy on the feet, man. I think it's one of those things where he is really undersized. He's short, tiny guy off 3 losses. I think it's a good buy low spot for Rafael Fiziev, and I think it's greasy. I think it's close. It should be a fun one, but I'll go Fiziev for this one, man. Why not? Main event of the evening: Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill. Now, Khalil Roundtree, this is a battle of bad tattoos. Jamal Hill has the 2 thumbs up on his chest, which is bold. And then Khalil Roundtree has like different cult figures tattooed on him. He's got random like anime shit tattooed on him. Khalil Roundtree kind of looks like the type of guy, like you mentioned that one time you watched an episode of Attack on Titan, and he literally starts crying. Like he's like, "Oh, but you haven't watched Jujutsu Kaisen. You haven't watched. I don't even know any other fucking animes. You get what I mean, like Dragon Ball Z, like like this guy's like fucking losing his mind that you've seen one episode of Attack on Titan or Invincible, and you don't want to watch anything else anime related. He looks like that kind of guy. Jamal Hill looks like he'd fucking freak out at you if you told him you've never been to Detroit, Michigan, and he'd be like, "Hey, when you get on the plane, you're gonna get dominated when you come to Detroit. I got knocked out when I was in Vegas, but you're gonna get dominated in Detroit." Like some bullshit like that. I'm going Jamal Hill. Um, Khalil, I think, is continuing to the line's getting closer and closer because people are realizing, wait a minute, we are banking Khalil as a favorite because he got the shit beat out of him and didn't go down, versus Alex Pereira. he had some success early. I think people are downplaying that, but a lot of it was blitzing in with 1-2s. It wasn't some like technical, oh man, he's really going strike for strike with Alex right now. He's weaving and he's doing the right shit. No, man, he was just throwing 1-2s down the pipe and Alex was backing up trying to counter strike. The only other time I can think of a guy who stock actually went up after getting the shit beat out of him was Moicano when he lost to RDA. He came back and he beat Brad Riddell, and people were like, man, like, Moicano actually is legit. We're gonna pin him as a favorite here. I believe he was the favorite versus Riddell. I might be wrong. Um, this is kind of that situation. I think Jamal Hill has lost to the best of the best. Obviously, Roundtree can crack with anybody. That sounded crazy, but life altering damage and now 35 years old. I don't know, man. And I think he's got a foot out the door. I think if he loses, he retires. Um, it's one of those kind of things. So I'm going to say Jamal Hill wins by fourth round KO. Jamal Hill hurts him bad in one of the early rounds, and then Khalil kind of survives for a bit, maybe lands some nice leg kicks on him. But Jamal will land like a right in the fourth round that really staggers him, might put him down, and then he's going to finish him with ground and pound vicious. I'm going Jamal Hill, fourth round KO. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the video for today. I hope you all enjoyed. This is a fun one. I think it's going to be a fun card, man. Lots of finishes, hopefully. We badly need a banger card. We really haven't gotten back to what happened in December at UFC Tampa, because that was the card of the century. So, you know, it's one of those things. So, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe down below. Go follow my TikTok. Follow everything, man. I appreciate all of you that watch these videos, if there are any of you out there that watch them. And I'll see you in the next one.